Thank you, guys. It does seem like that just one more day. Just hold your heart open one more day, right? Sometimes it feels like over the course of evolution, there are those moments of, can I just take a break? Can I just skip this day? Because this is the one day that my eyes aren't even open, much less my heart. Yes? That happened to be, I don't know what happened to Tuesday, but it didn't happen last week, in case you're wondering. I'm pretty sure I never got dressed. I'm pretty sure I slept through the whole thing. And that's okay, because sometimes you got to do that. So I want to, before we get into the, well, actually, not even before we get into the meat of the talk, I want to just point out that today is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everyone who has helped to nurture and grow life in this world, who has helped somebody's kid learn to ride a bike or throw a ball or how to balance their own checkbook or any of that stuff. You see, in my mind, to mother someone, if we take mother and make it a verb, to mother someone means to nurture life that already exists, an idea that already exists. To father someone or something means to take that which is invisible and move it into form. Take it and make it into a living thing that can be seen and experienced by other people, yes? Yes. So today we are celebrating our two new divine mothers in form as new practitioners, so I will ask that Sharon and Sandy stand up so that we may love on them for a moment. After 4 years of study and countless notebooks and flashcards, we finally had their oral panels yesterday, which means that they are now considered licensed by the Centers for Spiritual Living. And by the way, you guys are on after service to do 3-minute miracles. I get to hold their license. We also have the divine masculine represented today in the doers of this center, the people who will be making sure that all the stuff gets done. And so Tasha and Janet, if you could stand up for a moment. Tasha is our new bookkeeper. She is the one on your left. Tasha knows which one she is. And Janet is our front office administrator. Thank you. So Tasha will be in and out and available by appointment if she is needed. However, Janet is now here in the office from 10 to 4, Monday through Thursday. We're going back to 2019 hours. She in part got the job because the first person in 10 years to say, that's not a 30-hour-a-week job, it's 24. And I'm like, she can do math. We need her. She is also cleaning out everything. I think we have the world's largest accumulation of dry erase markers. If anyone needs one, we're going to build a whole new playground with them. That, a little bit of glue, and we'll be in great shape, right? So we need both sides, right? We need to celebrate the wholeness of the divine. We need to celebrate that God is all there is. That anything you can look at or experience in this world is within the divine. You may not enjoy every aspect of it, but it's all God. Sometimes God shows up as the exact opposite of itself in our experience. And what I mean by that is, I might have come into this life to experience and to explore this idea called abundance. As a matter of fact, I think I did. And what that meant was I was within minutes of homelessness at one point in my life. I was within a couple hours of declaring bankruptcy. And by exploring the opposite, I was then able to recognize true abundance when it was in front of me. I still have 3 brownies at home, and none of you know where they are. It's easier to have a stash when you're the only one in the house with thumbs. I get to experience having a house that paid for itself for the first 10 years by having a renter in it. I get to experience the abundance of friends that all joined with me yesterday that drove in from Yuma to do 1 hour's worth of work because we asked. I get to have the experience of having a place where I can celebrate a minister who has been doing this for 30 years. And she will be included. Sharon and Sandy have very generously agreed to share their graduation with her. And so we'll be honoring Rev Kathleen McDowell at the same time. And yesterday I found out that because of 2020, there's a couple of brand new ministers that didn't get to have a graduation. So I told them, hey, we're already having a party. Why not make it a bigger party? So I asked them to join us as well. Now, I don't have any authority to graduate them from anything, but I can throw them a party and no one can stop us, right? Yes. That's true abundance. And I came into this life exploring abundance through its opposite in some ways. Now, in my family, three of us went to private school. We always owned the house we lived in. There were always two cars. There was the car we all used and then Daddy's 57 Chevy. It was so cool. I thought we were broke. And as an adult, I'm like, 3 kids in private school? We were not broke. We were doing okay. It's all up here. It really depends what you're looking with and the filters you're looking through. Yesterday actually was the first ever federally designated holiday of Juneteenth. Who knows what Juneteenth is all about? Was anybody else running to Google? Whatever. The great oracle at Google shared with me that on June 19th, 1865 in Galveston, Texas, the last state in the Union, the newly repaired Union, that had legalized slavery of any form, General Granger issued a proclamation in Galveston saying all of the slaves are now free, and that was the last of that form of slavery that was legal in this country. If you read the 13th Amendment correctly, there is actually still slave labor used in this country, and so I'm just going to be honest about that. Anyone who is in prison can be used as slave labor. I have opinions. Anybody surprised by that? No, that's okay. So today we're celebrating that as a country, as a whole country, enough of us felt that slavery was a bad idea, that we were willing to go to war over it to set the captives free, and then to make it illegal to hold slaves in this country. And so Juneteenth is the next step forward in recognizing our oneness, in recognizing that there is no separation, that the color of your skin does not mean you are of a separate race. That's a terrible misnomer. It's caused lots and lots of problems. It's the same thing. We have it in this country where other countries have said, depending on whether or not what type of Christian you are, God is on our side. Same God, same Jesus, same Christ, same sacraments, even the same book, and yet we would go to war over it. And lest you think that we are above that here at CSL, for a long time, almost 75 years, there was Religious Science International and United Church of Religious Science, literally taught from the same textbook, using the same curriculum, founded by the same dude, 2 separate organizations. Now, what did it take for this to change? If you ask the leadership, they will admit to you that at one point they admitted it would just take a few more funerals. What it really took as well was the young people, the teens saying, this is stupid, we're doing summer camp together. And so they reunited, they integrated, and looked at us adults and went, we can do it. What's the matter with you? So the kids schooled us, and so we changed our name to United Church of Religious Science and United Centers for Spiritual Living and International Centers for Spiritual Living. And the kids were like, okay, you sizzle, I sizzle, we sizzle. And they renamed us the Sizzles. So now we're just CSL, the Centers for Spiritual Living, teaching oneness under the same name. Evolution isn't always going to be pretty. Evolution sometimes looks like your favorite brand of ice cream disappearing from Safeway. Friendly's needs to come back. It's the only part of the East Coast that I was really hanging on to. Again, I have an opinion, people. Juneteenth celebrates for us that that a little over 100 years ago, we took a step forward in our understanding of oneness. And then there was the Civil Rights Act. And then there was finally figuring out that Martin Luther King Day was a good idea. And yes, Arizona took a little extra time. We get there eventually. There is in A Course in Miracles, which is a book that is adjacent to our teaching, but not exactly our teaching. In lesson number 192, it says, "A jailer is not free, for he is bound together with his prisoner. He must be sure that he does not escape, and so he spends his time in keeping watch on him." Did anyone get lost in the pronouns there? He can't escape, and so he has to keep an eye on him. The bars that limit him become the world in which his jailer lives along with him, and it is on his freedom that the way to liberty depends for both of them. If we cannot claim good, if we cannot claim love and perfection for everyone, think of somebody you don't like, who just gets on your last nerve. All of those opinions I was sharing, those are what hold me in bondage. Those are my judgments about the privatized prison industry. Those are my judgments about certain ways of doing things. Those are my judgments about how all the good things in the world, including the Friendly's empire, have gone away. Friendly's, by the way, was a burger joint my dad worked at when it first opened, and it was huge up and down the East Coast, and they did fribbles and ice cream and everything else, and none of you care. But I think there's like 3 left in existence, and I'm like, I know where I'm retiring. Everybody in my family worked at Friendly's. So when we have a judgment and say, the world is not okay because, that person is not okay because they are gender fluid, because they are straight or gay, because they are black, white, plaid, I don't know. I only have things against plaid because I had to wear it so much as a kid. When we say that is the wrong way to do life, we are standing in judgment of someone, and we are enslaving ourselves to our own idea. Because in truth, if there's only one of us, when we judge something else as bad, what we're really, it's that whole thing that you learned in kindergarten when you point a finger, there's 3 of them pointing back at you. Well, at least the nails look good. Hey, that too is spiritual. So when we talk about Juneteenth, what we're really celebrating is our own freedom here in this room. And awakening to the idea that those people were free for quite some time. For 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation happened, they just hadn't been told that they were free. So what if this guy came to Earth 2,000 years ago and told us we were not broken, told us that we were divine, that God actually liked us? What if a master teacher came to this planet, and I would say more than just once, but 2,000 years ago, the master teacher, Jesus the Christ, came to this planet and said, you have the power to heal the sick, including yourself. You have the power to loose demons, meaning letting go of the demons inside your own head. I was once told that Satan only existed in our heads, and is there a worse place for him to be? Really, that's where he's going to do all the damage, right? You guys know we cancel Satan and hell due to lack of interest in this teaching, right? Yeah. We don't have that. I wouldn't mind bringing him back when it's time to do the budget and get people to tithe sometimes, but it doesn't work so well when somebody is guilted or shamed into doing something that's good for them. So yes, we're going to let that go. So when I judge myself as not spiritual enough, and I do, when the Dalai Lama says that he is not enlightened, what if that's just us holding on to our own mental slavery? What if in this moment, right here, right now, take a breath. That was your first breath as a Christ. Aware that you are the Christ. Aware that you are whole, perfect, and complete, and God the Father not only loves you in the spiritual sense, but likes you and would drink a beer with you if you drank beer. Would love to hang out with you on a Saturday morning and eat chocolate sugar bombs or whatever's popular right now and watch the Cartoon Network. What if God would help you by vacuuming your house because she likes you that much? What if God would show up if you said you were moving and actually help you pack? Now, those are true friends, especially if you have a futon. And antique, which is all made out of wood, which is what I have. Fair warning, I am never moving again. What if the divine loves you that much that it decided that your form and your way of being in the world is so perfect, it had to show up on earth as you, just as you are, and just as you are not? It is your Father in the sense that it took form as you. And all of those buts that are coming up in your head right now, I'm hearing but. Sound like a little scooter, but. Including your weight, including the mistakes you've made, including that stupid thing you said 5 years ago to somebody who can't remember that you ever said it. Including that joke that went over like a lead salami when you first met your in-laws. Including the way you screwed up your bank account way back when, including your ex-spouses, including the kids that just didn't turn out the way you really thought they would, and you're not sure how that happened. Including the fact that you're not a perfect parent or a perfect kid. Including all of that, God thinks you are the cutest thing in the world. And so flippin' cool. Would hang out with you over anybody else any day. Why? Because it is you. And God does not judge itself. God is perfect. Perfect meaning lacking nothing and having nothing extraneous in it. And so when we celebrate Father's Day, we celebrate that God took form as us in order to live on this planet exactly as we are. And the name of this talk, I found out this morning, before I came in on the stage, by 2 minutes, I actually named it The Love in Evolution. As we learn and grow, sometimes it's hard to find that love. Sometimes we're learning about love through its opposite. We're learning about joy through its opposite, yes? Sometimes you just have a bad hair day. And that's okay, because you have to look a little bit to find the love in evolution. As a matter of fact, you might have to read it backwards. Evolution does have the word love in it, but you have to read it backwards. And so I would suggest to you, as you look at our country, as you look at civil rights, as you look at how we honor our families and how families are changing, as you look at how this center is changing, remember that sometimes you have to hold it up into the mirror and look at it backwards and maybe tilt your head and squint one of your eyes. It's there. You can find it. This center is changing and growing. And one of the conversations that we had over the course of the weekend when the ministers got together is the same conversation we've been having for years. Can't keep doing church the way we've always done church. The next step would be, okay, so what are we going to try? At which point, every minister goes back and says, we can't keep doing church the way we've always done church, and yet we're going to keep a lot of it because we don't know what else to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that we are evolving right now, and I don't know whether some parts of our service are going to become kind of like the extra tail or the spleen. It becomes vestigial at some point. We don't know which parts we really need and which parts we don't. But I will tell you, I'm already hearing from people, I need community. I need spiritual community. This place is not going away. This community might look different. We might do things differently. Sunday morning will continue, but we might also find out that Wednesday night is awesome as a time to come together and be spiritual community. We might have a lot more classes. We might have a lot more in-home small meetings. We might try a lot of different things. I am open to every idea you guys are willing to try. Because I know that Spirit speaks through me and Spirit speaks through you. And the divine is right here, right now, wanting to take form, evolve into something new and wonderful, which doesn't lose the best of what we have been all along. That energy toward freedom, that energy toward equality, that energy of wanting to love and nurture and grow something beautiful, that's inherent in us. That existed. Fathers were really awesome dads long before somebody came up with Father's Day because they felt bad for their dad on Mother's Day. And yes, that's how it started. She got a day, he didn't. The daughter didn't like that, so she got Father's Day started. People have been struggling with mental slavery long before this country took a look at different economic options and how we could make one group subservient to the next. And we have been moving closer and closer and closer to the truth of who we are, to our true Christedness, to the being and recognizing that we are the beloved of the beloved, to setting ourselves free by forgiving each other and ourselves for past injustices and debts. We have been moving closer and closer to it. And if you look at the arc of history, we have been getting better and better. We have become more and more aware. We have become more and more loving. We have become less and less violent no matter what the news tells you. Fewer people are dying in wars. Fewer people are in extreme poverty. Fewer people are actually dying of hunger than even they were in 1980. I don't have the stats at the tip of my tongue, but I can tell you, we can end world hunger today, and we will probably have ended it by 2050. The only question is, which of the multiple ways of doing it are we going to use? We are getting better and better. And in this moment, I ask that you accept just a little bit, open your heart just a little bit to the idea that you are beloved right now, right here, as you are. Wearing what you're wearing, with your hair looking however it looks, right here. And we use the power of prayer, our type of prayer, to firm that up, to make it so that it sinks into our DNA, into our cellular memory. Now, I pray from down here to remind you, me, and everybody else that we are all on an equal playing field. I am speaking it right now because I've got the microphone. And frankly, I jumped through a lot of hoops to get the microphone. But the Spirit speaks you too. And so as I speak these words, I ask you to take them into your heart and take them as your own. As I go within and remember, allow my consciousness to once again awaken to the glorious truth that God is all there is. There is one power and one presence that has taken form as the universe, and as every single one of us, as every relationship, every experience, every truth. And so in this moment, I let go of mental slavery. I let go of the history that it took to get us here. And I stand in the present moment, awakened fully to the Christedness of this magnificent soul, of each magnificent soul that is hearing my words now. And I speak my word on behalf of all of us. I speak my word knowing that as I stand witness to truth, it must take form. I am fathering a whole new beingness in this world. As I speak my word, I claim for all of us a new and wonderful abundance. An abundance of friends, an abundance of chosen family, an abundance of love to be experienced by people that we may not currently be aware of in our world. I open up now to financial abundance so that we are free to do and have and be all the things that our hearts desire, to create all of the good for each other. That has been a dream in the back of our mind up until now. In this moment, I know that the divine truth is working through each and every one of us to claim good and more good, to evolve into our true magnificence, to allow the greatness of these souls to be seen here and now and at all times. Whether you're hearing my voice in this room or on a video. No matter when you hear this, I have the privilege of standing witness to the magnificence of these souls. I have the privilege and the honor to witness. And in this moment, by witnessing to Father, the great lives that are now happening. I am so grateful to know that this is just Spirit showing up, that this is just what Spirit has always been, that we are now evolved enough, have eyes to see with, have ears to hear with. And I celebrate this good. I celebrate and stand in awe of the massive love that is now available right here and right now to all of us and in all of us. And I just let it be without fighting it, without trying to earn it or deserve it. I just accept it all as already done, and I let it be, and so it is.